This time, it's the 2020 Acura NSX. And I think today is gonna be a good day because we have a beautiful supercar. We have the Angeles Forest in front of us, a sunny day. What we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you around this thing, show you some of the interesting and honestly funny things about the Acura NSX. And then most importantly, we're gonna take it for a spin and you guys are gonna experience what it's like to drive this thing. Let's get right into it. I really don't even need to talk about the looks of this thing. You guys already know that this is an absolute stunner. And what I will say is that even though I don't like yellow on most cars, this is the color I would actually buy. If you would have asked me that before the car arrived, what color you'd want, I would definitely not have said yellow, but this has this amazing pearl to it, and it just pops on this car with all the black accents. As I said, not a yellow guy, but this looks phenomenal. Now, one of the things that's really funny to me about this car, even though it honestly doesn't take away from the car at all to me, is the lack of storage space. It's genuinely comical. I'm gonna show you guys where, in most mid-engine cars, obviously the engine is in the back or just behind you as a driver, there's typically a frunk, which is what we affectionately refer to as the front trunk. But with this car, there are two electric motors up here which drive these wheels independently, and there's no room for any frunk. So no room for storage up here, which, okay, no room for storage in the front. Let's go to the back. Open up the back and you can maybe put a couple groceries in here. And I tell you that because I did. And what I found out is that if you want to superheat your groceries, this is the place to do it. Because this area being so close to the engine and the exhaust running under here gets super hot. So honestly, kind of hilarious to me how bad the storage is in here. Even this hump, I thought when I first got it was just the carpet scrunched up, but no, there's a hump here. It's unapologetically bad, and honestly, I find this so refreshing that it has no storage, because look at cars like the C8 Corvette. When you make a requirement that you have to be able to put multiple golf bags in the back of it, it gets very big and bulbous. And to me, the back of the C8 Corvette is the worst feature of that car. It looks hideous. Whereas this is super sculpted. They didn't make it bigger just to put more stuff in it. They made it small because they want it to look and perform well. So bravo to Acura, honestly, for that. Of course, you have the hand-assembled engine back here. 3.5 liter turbocharged engine, mated to a electric motor in between that and the 9-speed transmission. You also have two electric motors up front, 3 motors plus a 4th gas engine. It's friggin' nuts, man. This is the future. You've heard about the 918 and the LaFerrari or the P1. Those are similar cars in the performance hybrid category, and this is like one of those, just a lot cheaper. One of my favorite hidden features of the exterior is this see-through sort of body panel here. I know more cars are doing that, or at least more supercars are doing that, where there's like visible holes in the body panels for aero. I didn't even know that existed on this car until I got it, but it's a really cool thing to find. Popping in the interior, I'll keep it brief because I really just want to take this thing for a spin and show you guys what it's like to drive. It's unique. It feels special in here, even though it does have some Acura or Honda qualities to it, like some of the switches, whatever. The steering wheel is really cool, sort of rounded off, a little more square, and I don't typically like square wheels, but as you're going to see, because of the front suspension and the steering on this car, it actually turns out to be just fine. I'm gonna turn the car on. The touch screen is fine, but it's super ancient. And guess what? No one cares. No one is buying this car for the infotainment system. The audio system is pretty good. And the gauge cluster, center mounted tach, it's at a bit of a weird angle. I don't know if you guys can see that in the photo. It's very much like laid back. Not sure why they did that. Maybe it's a packaging thing. They wanted to keep this sort of cowl low, but you got Alcantara here. I can't wait to take this thing for a drive, so let's just go. You press these little buttons here like every Acura or Honda product. What? This looks staged. What are the odds that another NSX would be here?
I just want to say hi because I've never seen one like this.
I'm reviewing it actually. All right, cool, man. See ya. Yeah, I mean, if I were you, I would honestly think that that was totally staged, right? What are the odds that an old NSX rolls up as I'm pulling out with the new one? I don't even know what to say. I mean, we could talk about the old NSX. I think enough people have, so I don't want to cover it too much. That car was all about pushing the boundaries. NSX stands for New Sports Car Experience. And guess what? People say that this doesn't follow in line with the old NSX mentality, but it totally does. Look at where the future is going. I know hybrid is a dirty word to so many car enthusiasts, me included. I think instantly Prius when I think hybrid. But we need to start changing our minds about performance hybrids, because this car is awesome. It's so cool, and it is the new sports car experience. It is basically, getting a little warm in here. It is the future because we're using the best of the gasoline engines that we have right now, and we're using the best of the electric technology that we have right now, and pairing them together and using what makes them both good. Slow down here for some construction. But what you get with these electric motors that really enhances the driving experience is that instant torque that we always talk about with electric motors. So when you're even in gear and you're expecting there to be some turbo lag because this is a 500 horsepower 3.5 liter turbocharged engine, you'd expect some lag, but those electric motors just fill that torque dip and the power is so immediate. I mean, going into this car, I thought it was going to be super digital. Basically, I was thinking it was going to be a lot like a GTR. And it really is not. It's uncannily analog for such a modern thing that uses modern technology and uses electronics to aid in a driving experience. But it doesn't sort of make that front and center to you. It doesn't, like in a GTR, you know that there's so much stuff going on that's making you go fast. And this car defies physics like the GTR, but it feels more natural actually. It feels more like a regular sports car experience. And I can't believe I'm saying that. There's a couple reasons for it. First and foremost, this steering. Okay, maybe it doesn't have a ton of feel like we get in traditional sports cars, but it is so quick and one of the most accurate steering systems I've ever felt. And you'll notice in this drive, now we're obviously on pretty big sweepers, but my hands are barely moving. Like lock to lock, you're virtually never even past 90 degrees when you turn the wheel in this car, because it's just the steering wheel is that quick. And then you also have the fact that with those electric motors that drive the front wheels, both the left and the right wheel, you can under and overdrive those wheels, which helps turn the car as well, helps rotate the car. There's absolutely no understeer in this car. They have tuned this car perfectly. And I don't know what it was like in 2016, 2017 when this car came out. I know there was some criticisms, but I can tell you for sure in 2020, they have the tuning sorted out. It's mega. So much confidence, but also so fun. The suspension has MR dampers, magneto-rheological, I can never say it right, I always get it wrong. You know what else has MR dampers? Formula One cars. Okay, yeah, my GT350 had MR dampers. That's probably the cheapest car with MR dampers, but MR dampers are amazing. They make this car ride so well around town, out here. It performs well. You can adjust them, of course, when you're in the Sport Plus setting. They firm up nice and taut, but when you're in the lower settings, the quiet setting, the regular sport setting, they get a little soft and just enough, not to where it takes away from the sports car experience, but enough to where it makes bumps not an issue when you're daily driving this thing. This car is so fast, guys, like so fast. I think there were some criticisms right when it came out that, oh, it wasn't as fast as like a 570 as a McLaren or some other cars. But the research that I did was you're looking at about a 2.90 to 60. Sub 3 second. Listen, anything that's sub 3 seconds 0 to 60, it's literally so fast that it's uncomfortable. People that haven't experienced it think, oh yeah, like I want faster, I want faster, I want faster. Which, yeah, of course we all want faster, but look, it gets to the point of being uncomfortable when you launch these cars because they're so quick. And a sub 3 seconds 0 to 60 is absolutely nothing to scoff at. That is deeply impressive. That's close to 911 turbo territory. And I guess that's a big competitor of this car is the 911 turbo. And in a little bit, I want to talk more about why so few people are buying this car. The sales numbers are not good, but not quite yet, because I am enjoying this drive. You can see me working these paddles a little bit here. 9-speed dual clutch transmission, flawless. Amazing around town, doesn't have any jerkiness that some dual clutches have, and lightning quick shifts. 9 gears, it's bananas. I don't think it goes past 7 when you're in track or Sport Plus mode or have it in manual. Those final 2 gears are probably just for fuel economy. The only time I've seen it go into 9th gear is when I'm in normal mode and I have it in automatic. Maybe we should do a launch up here, huh? Man, this car is just something else. Yeah, let's do a launch. Hold it all the way to the right for track mode, and it's pretty easy to launch. Left foot on the brake, right foot all the way on the gas. Launch mode, ready? Oh yeah, let me bang the rev limiter. We're going uphill too. We're going uphill. This car is bananas. It's not often that I experience cars that exceed my expectations by a lot. I really thought this car was going to be numb. I thought it wasn't going to be that fast. I thought it wasn't going to be that sharp. But I'm just genuinely blown away at this thing. Why don't they sell more of these? One of the cool things that I really like about it is the fact that they race this car in, GT3 and I think GTD class. But what says a lot about the engine of this thing and the fact that it's Honda and Acura is that the engine that they race in their race car is bone stock. The same engine that they are putting in your car that you are buying to drive on the street. A lot of manufacturers, basically all the manufacturers, modify those engines within a certain allowance for the class rules. You don't see stock cars, or stock engines I should say, being put into race cars. And that speaks absolute volumes to the durability of this thing. This engine is handcrafted in Ohio. Represent Ohio. I love you. That's where I'm from. And it makes me so proud. I mean, the whole car is basically hand-built in Ohio. And that makes me honestly so proud. As an American, as someone from Ohio, that we can make this amazing machine. And once again, that durability is really what is so impressive to me. And you don't want to worry about when you having super expensive bills when it comes to a supercar like this, or maybe some sketchy electronics like McLarens sometimes have, this car has performed flawlessly. I've had no issues with it whatsoever. And I get the feeling, just by driving it, it has a certain feeling that it's going to hold up. It is going to last for you. And if their racing program is any indication, this engine is going to hold up for you. It's a phenomenal car. So why aren't people buying it? My theory is two things. First and foremost, I think the badge is part of the problem. People that are spending this amount of money for a car want a fancy badge. They want a Porsche, they want a Lamborghini, they want a Ferrari or McLaren. You can't quite get into those, Ferrari or McLarens for this money, but you can certainly get into a Porsche for this money. But it is shocking to me that so few people want to be a little bit different and buy something new and exciting, and once again, just different. Guys, I live in LA now, and I see more 911s on a daily basis than I could even count. The amount of NSXs I've seen in the wild in LA in the 4 months that I've lived here, one. Not including this car, of course. One. I saw one NSX at a Cars and Coffee. I've never seen any other one on the road. And it's so hard to stand out in a place like this in LA, where, once again, you see 911s, you see even Lamborghinis, Ferraris, you see them all the time. And I never see an NSX. So in a way, to stand out, why would you not want this car? Why would you just not want to be different from your friends? Don't be that guy that buys the 911. I love 911s. I love Porsches. And I'm not saying that this car is necessarily better. Objectively, those things can be different, but it has the fizz. This has supercar fizz. And I was worried that it wasn't going to. I was worried that the hybrid powertrain was going to just make it a little bit of a snooze fest, and once again, like a GTR, where it just becomes a digital thing. But it is not. It is fantastic, and I hope more people buy them, and I hope they keep making them. It's not looking good. They sold less than 200 last year, which is absolutely mind-boggling to me. They were expecting to make around 600 a year, I believe. And God, I hope they keep making them. But I think this is one of those cars similar to that LFA that no one's going to buy when it first came out, and then is going to be pretty collectible. Probably not LFA collectible, because that engine, the LFA, is something special. This doesn't quite sing like that, but for a turbo V6, it has a nice growl and has awesome turbo noises, a bunch of whooshing and blow-off valves. So I just think it's a generational car. It's cutting edge, sort of like the P1 and the 918, for a much less price, and I really think that they are going to hold their value. I don't really see these depreciating that much, especially because they built so few of them. So, I mean, look, I don't have the money to spend on this car, and I know a lot of people don't. But if you have 200 grand, 150 grand, where this starts out at, but with some options, upper hundreds, if you have that amount of money and you're only looking at a 911 turbo, or even an R8, man, at least go drive this car, because it's different enough that I think certain people will appreciate it. And I have absolutely loved my experience in it. Thank you so much to Acura for letting me borrow it. And yeah, what more can I say? Supercar, sunny road, or sunny day, and amazing road. Guys, thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the content, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you want to see more. And we will have another really fun and exciting car next week, so you don't want to miss that one. Appreciate you guys watching, guys. Peace.